What's going on, my ASVAB party people? Anderson here, your ASVAB coach, and today we're going to be doing paragraph comprehension. So if you didn't know already, paragraph comprehension has a lot of different types of questions, and this one is called a next sentence question. So we're going to go over these basic strategies, what you can do, and basically how to practice moving forward. That way you can keep raising your score and get that job you want. And as a reminder, tonight we have a class on paragraph comprehension for 2 hours, and it's part of my ASVAB All-Access Program. So if you want to join, basically, you can go ahead and text me or go ahead and find a link somewhere here in this video description. That way you can watch a video on it, how it works, how it's going to help you raise your score, and then you can sign up. But long story short, all the classes, all the recordings, so you don't have to worry about your schedule, all the practice that you need with video solutions, and on top of that, you get to text me whenever you need help. So that way, it's like I'm right there with you, mentoring you every step of the way. So there it is right there. Get the ASVAB All-Access Program. That way you can lower test anxiety and raise your score. But let's go ahead and get to it here. So we have a passage here, and here's the biggest mistake that a lot of people make. A lot of people make the mistake of going right here. As a reaction to physical damage or start. Look, here's the thing. When it comes to paragraph comprehension, you don't want to start reading the passage first. It's just like a word problem in math. If you've seen my videos before, you know that I teach this way. You do not want to go into the information first. You want to go into the purpose first. And what's the purpose? The objective, what you want, what do you want to find? So right here, which of the following sentences would most likely come next? We want to start with the question. Again, the reason being, the question tells you, hey, what are you supposed to end up with? That way, when you look at the information, the passage itself, you'll be able to kind of decipher the information according to what you want. It's like saying, hey, walk into that room over there, and then I'll tell you what to do. Versus, hey, before you walk into that room, I need the book that's on the nightstand. Right there. If you tell me, okay, I need the book that's on the nightstand, you go into the room, go to the nightstand, find the book, bring it out, and you're done. Right? So that's the idea. There's no point in spending all that time in a room that you don't know the purpose of yet. So let's treat this the same way. Read the question first. That's the basic strategy here. Which of the following sentences most likely come next? So this is strategy here. When it comes to next sentence questions, this is one of the 5 most common types of questions. And so again, when it comes to next sentence questions, there's 3 main things you want to know. To pick the correct next sentence, you need to, 1, have the same main idea. It's number 1, you need to have the same main idea. Number 2, the tone of the passage needs to be preserved. You need to have the same tone in the passage and in the sentence that you pick. And number 3, you want to basically follow up on the last sentence. So follow up on the last sentence. These are the 3 main things you want to focus on when it comes to picking the correct next sentence. So remember, main idea is just the content, what it's about. The tone is about the way that the information is being presented. And number 3, the follow-up, basically it must have something to do with that last sentence. So with that said, let's get to it here. When it comes to next sentence questions, you do not read the answers first. Never. You will read the passage once or twice, maybe 3 times, but you're going to read it as often as you need to, so that way you can get the main idea, the tone, and understand that last sentence. So here we go. As a reaction to physical damage or starvation, fully grown, whatever that is. And so notice what I just did there. I'm assuming that a lot of us don't know how to pronounce that word right up there. I'm assuming a lot of us don't. It's okay. You don't have to. You don't have to. So as a reaction to physical damage or starvation, fully grown that thing, a fascinating species of jellyfish, okay, so we'll just call them jellyfish. So fully grown of those jellyfish will revert into polyps, or whatever you want to call that. Again, don't worry about pronunciations, doesn't matter. The reborn polyp colonies will ultimately bud and release jellyfish that are genetically identical to the original adult. That's pretty fascinating, actually. That is pretty fascinating. So let's go ahead and check this out here. So one more time, let's read it over. So as a reaction to physical damage or starvation, fully grown jellyfish or whatever will revert into polyps. Okay, so those reborn polyp colonies ultimately bud and release jellyfish that are genetically identical to the original adult. So what does it sound like is happening here? It sounds like when you have an adult jellyfish of this whatever species, it sounds like it releases these polyps or babies, and then those babies basically grow back up to be that same jellyfish. Again, genetically identical. So basically, it sounds like this thing can kind of like, live forever almost, right? It's pretty cool. But long story short, main idea, we're talking about jellyfish, how they revert into polyps, and then they keep kind of coming back into that same jellyfish. Okay, cool. Because again, it's physical damage or starvation. So it's like a survival tactic. Jellyfish is hurt or starving, releases polyps. Those polyps grow back up to be the same exact jellyfish. Pretty cool. And then from there, that's the main idea. The tone is pretty informational because when you read through the passage, you're looking at this and you're saying, okay, they're not saying you, they're not saying me or we or us or you all. It's talking in terms of factuality in a very formal basis here. It's really not personal at all. And then the follow-up to the last sentence, it says the reborn polyp colonies ultimately release jellyfish that are genetically identical to the original adult. Okay, so we're going to look for a sentence here. Now I'm ready to look at the answer choices, and I'm going to pick the answer. Again, that is, again, one more time, it basically, again, preserves the main idea, the tone, and it follows up on that last sentence. Let's go ahead and read through them here. In fact, these jellyfish are capable of a form of biological immortality, which sounds like that's pretty cool, right? Although it's not impossible for you to kill these jellyfish. Whoa, that's going to be incorrect. The reason that it's incorrect is because right here, you. Where in the passage do you see the word you or us talking in terms of kind of a personal basis? No, I don't see it. I don't like this answer. I'm going to X it out because I don't like the answer. That doesn't mean it's incorrect. Perhaps we can come back and maybe it's the most likely one, but that's not the one for me right now. B. In fact, these jellyfish are basically immortal, which is an awesome survival skill. Okay, so let's go ahead and just take a look here. There's two words that I kind of want to pinpoint here. Basically immortal and awesome. So notice that, the only time that I see a word like awesome or cool or whatever is fascinating. So maybe I can level with that. And then basically immortal. Let's see. I'll leave it there for now. I will leave it there for now. I don't really have too much of an issue, just kind of some question marks there. Let's take a look at C. In fact, these jellyfish can be found worldwide in temperate to tropical waters. Okay, can be found worldwide in temperate to tropical waters. Okay, so in fact, does that follow up on the last sentence? Because we are talking about these jellyfish, and the tone is pretty factual, so they're giving us a location. But does it really follow up on the last sentence? So the last sentence, remember, it says the reborn polyp colonies will ultimately bud and release jellyfish that are genetically identical to the original adult. I want to talk more about that. I think that the follow-up, the next sentence needs to follow up on this biological trait that they have, that they can kind of basically have babies that become the exact same jellyfish. It's pretty cool. And I don't really see that here. I don't see it following up on the last sentence. So I'm going to go ahead and X that one out too. Now D, let's see this one. In fact, since this phenomenon was first observed in the 1990s, the species has come to be called the immortal jellyfish. Okay, so the main idea, we're still talking about these jellyfish. The tone, still factual. Since the phenomenon was first observed in the 1990s, the species has come to be called the immortal jellyfish, in quotations. So this looks like to be a quotation from some sort of scientific research. Cool. And then does it follow up on the last sentence? It does, because we're talking about this, this idea that these jellyfish can again repopulate into the exact same cells. And so with that said, yeah, it looks like we are following up on that last sentence. And so for me, I would take D over B. If you take a look at B, we have again, it says, in fact, these jellyfish are basically immortal, which is an awesome survival skill. I'm gonna look at basically. I think basically is it's the word that did it for me. Because when you look at the word basically versus all of the formalities that we've been talking with in this passage, I don't think that the word basically kind of fits the overall tone. So with that said, I am going to go with D as the slightly stronger answer. But if you did pick B, don't worry. It shows that you do have that understanding of the next sentence questions, but we need to be able to better pick, again, those three elements. Main idea, tone, and then following up on the last sentence. We need to do those three things or think about those three things to really pick an answer that makes a lot of sense. And so with that said, my party people, how does that for you? How was that for you? Do you feel like, tone or next sentence questions are pretty tough? I would say so. I think that they are, simply because you have to already understand tone, you have to understand main idea, and you got to be able to read a passage pretty quickly to then pick a correct answer. So with that said, my party people, keep practicing these. These are great practice. And remember, tonight we have a class on that at 6 p.m. Eastern time for 2 hours. So go ahead and again, check the link in the description of this video or shoot me a text. That way you can start raising your score and get that job you want. Again, let me go ahead and put this up for you right here. There it is, 567-698-8867. This is everything you get with the program. I think you'll like it a lot. So go ahead, shoot me a text if you want to learn more about it, or click the link to sign up and get started. You guys are awesome. I'm Coach Anderson, and I'll see you in the next video.